Hello, Contractors of Colorado. It is me, your host, Andrew Lavrens, with another episode here of the Contractors of Colorado podcast. Today, we have a guest who is with a property management company. They are one of our sponsors of the Contractors of Colorado, and we have Mr. Pat Albright with Evernest Property Management. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to be talking to all the contractors.
Absolutely. Well, before we kick this thing off, I always like to start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors. So thank you to the Builders Outlet. They're a material supply shop in Denver, right next to Empower Stadium. They've got cabinets, doors, windows, trim. They have a custom mill. So reach out to them, let them know you're with the community, and they will take care of you. And then thank you, as always, to the Business Foundry. It's where we operate Contractors of Colorado out of. It's where we have our events, our monthly meetups, our quarterly get-togethers. Huge supporters of everything we do. They have a podcast room here, a full multimedia suite. They help us out with a ton. So thank you. Pat, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. We had that morning meeting with the contractors. Always fun.
Yeah.
For anyone, I highly encourage you to attend one of these networking events, is what I would call it, that you have. I love doing them.
Yeah, awesome. You sponsor the Coffee and Donuts, or Coffee and Bagels, excuse me. Huge hit. So we're going to keep you happy because, man, what a blessing it is to have coffee and bagels.
Well, we're happy to do it. And I love dealing with the contractors. So this has been a hidden gem as far as I'm concerned.
It's amazing what we've been able to achieve. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's to think back a year ago when it was just me at some of those events. You know, I'd promote it, do all the same stuff, and be the only one to show up.
And it was crazy. The number of people that just in the few months I've been coming, the growth is huge and exciting.
We had 79 people registered to attend this morning, and I think well over 50 made it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
negative, the biggest crew.
-8 outside. So I'm excited to see where the future of that is going to go. I mean, it's more people every time. So thank you for your sponsorship of that. It's amazing. Tell us about yourself, personally, family, hobbies.
Okay, a lot there. I am let's go to the business side. I'm a business strategist. So I am the business development manager for Colorado for Evernest Property Management. Evernest is out of Birmingham, Alabama. It started in 2009, 2008 from Matthew Whitaker, and just growing exponentially. So I'm excited to be part of that as the business development manager, but I also get involved with the operations, et cetera. So for a guy like me who has worked in big companies and small companies and been an entrepreneur even, seeing stuff grow is the exciting part. So this is just a great part of what we're doing at Evernest. So I actually laid out a strategy for Evernest that I thought made sense in Colorado, which is to work with contractors. Rather than just realtors, like a lot of property management firms do. I wanted to work with contractors because they're working with investors. We're looking for investors to help. So from a perspective of Evernest, we are the second biggest property management firm now in the U.S. And for anywhere, we don't own the properties, but we manage them.
Walk us through that a little bit. What does that entail?
So you're a single-family resident, a multifamily, or an investor. You're looking at having your home, your units managed by a professional group. That's Evernest. So we take it all the way from soup to nuts, meaning at the front end, somebody will come to us and they'll say, I want you to help manage my property. What does that mean? That really means helping get them a tenant or tenants if they are in a multifamily place. That's our sweet spot. So I'm the front end. I always end up talking to people saying, what is it you're looking to accomplish, et cetera. From there, we help people with everything to get a tenant in the door. So our operations group, which I work with closely, our onboarding team, will come into a property. let's just take a single family residence. And they will go through and say, okay, for us to help you market this, we need you to make some changes to the property, whether or not they're recommended or required. So for us to market, we have some requirements, can't have broken faucets, et cetera. So that's the upfront process. The goal is to get a great tenant in. We actually are great. Nationally, we're less than 1% eviction rate. Colorado, less than half of 1%, because we're very diligent on the front end. So we put tenants or prospective tenants through the ringer, really, of answering a lot of questions. We do a lot of background checks. Everything is done in-house. We get a great tenant in, then our property management team takes over. That's the everyday property management group. So they are involved with tenant relations, anything that the owner needs, making sure property upkeep, et cetera. So Evernest started again in 2008 with 30 doors, was 13,000 doors last year when I started in the summertime, is now 24,000 doors and growing very quickly. So it's an exciting time. One of the things is we're really good on the process. With that, and as far as for contractors, and I'll talk to the contractors directly, here is we're growing. And I brought that up within the Contractors of Colorado team, as well as any of the meetings that we have, that we are growing dramatically. From an organization standpoint, we want to ultimately be 250,000 doors by the end of 2030. So for people who might see this video cast, we will not be able to handle everything in-house, even though we have in-house technicians, et cetera, to help. But with rapid growth comes the opportunity, I think, for contractors to work with Evernest and be part of the overall strategy. It's why I reached out to you originally.
It's a perfect segue. The next question that I wanted to make sure that I asked during this podcast was, what does it mean for you all to work with a contractor? And then kind of elaborate on that too. If you could create the perfect contractor to work alongside a property management company and be a partner for you all, what would that look like?
Repeat the first part. I'm going to tackle it in two parts.
Yeah. So we'll give it piece by piece.
Yes.
Tell us about your relationship with contractors as it stands today.
Got it. We have, so Evernest has in-house people, but it also supplements that with people outside the organization. So for Colorado, for example, we have in-house plumbers, et cetera, for the kind of common stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that comes up that we would not have in-house, and it's hard to find people. One of the things that really excited me about all this was the fact that we can tap into people that you know and work with to supplement what we have. Now, in certain cities that we're in or areas, we don't have as much staff. Colorado is one of our bigger markets, so we do have several in-house people. But as you go through the ebb and flow of the year, summertime is crazy. So what you don't want to do as a property manager is to say, yeah, we're going to take over and help you with your property, and then not be able to send anybody out to the house or the apartment or what have you for 2 weeks. We're going to lose business. So from that end, a contractor working with us, a lot of it is seasonality, but also given our aggressive growth plans organizationally, I could see a lot of work going to outside groups. So inside we have, I can't tell you all the different groups, and sometimes that changes, but seasonality and our aggressive growth is going to mean the need for contractors who are not employees of Evernest.
Yeah. It is one of the first things that we saw a natural connection in was, okay, you have people that need projects done, and I have an audience of contractors, some of which I know, some of which I know very well, some of which I don't know barely at all, some of which I just met for the first time this morning at our get-togethers.
Think about there's actually an example that we're forgetting about. I had an investor coming into the Colorado market that was looking at a multi-unit in Greeley, I believe. And I said, do you have a good general contractor? This guy's from Florida. He's not based here, so he doesn't know people. And he said, well, I think so, but I'm not sure. And I said, check with Andrew. So I connected him with you. I know you connected him to somebody that you like working with. And that helps me, Andrew, from the standpoint of I am now a full service provider rather than just property management. One of my goals is to really have where I can answer any question, especially for the investor groups coming in. And that's especially important in certain markets. I find Greeley is kind of hot. So if somebody says, hey, do you know somebody who's a roofer? Or do you know somebody who works on fences or tiles or anything else? You have them, makes me look good, helps you, helps them. It's a win-win for everybody. So the ideal, going back to the second part of your question before, is the fact that we're going to need people, and we need people who are good at communication. That's ultimately everything, because we want to make sure any contractor is a reflection of us as Evernest. So Evernest wants to make sure that these people are strong in what they do. It is a big reason why we reached out to you and all the programs we're going to do going forward, which is to have people who are vetted, that are known to be good, to work on our behalf, because they're just a reflection of us. They're not, if something goes wrong, the end customer is not going to blame the contractor. They're going to blame us as Evernest. So we got to make sure we have the best of the best.
Absolutely. I think our verification process is a great solution there. Our preferred contractor network. So contractors, if you don't know about that network or you'd like to get involved, please reach out directly to us. Happy to have those conversations. But yes, it's extremely important. And
I'd add a point to that.
Yeah.
To the contractors. We will not, so people call us directly. That's fine. However, that's going to be less and less. One of the things we wanted to work out with Contractors of Colorado is the fact that they know who's good. You know who's good, who's been vetted, et cetera. We are going to require that going forward at some point to say, are you with Contractors of Colorado? Have you been vetted? Have you been verified? Because we just don't have time for that process to do it all in-house. That's why we're partnering up.
yeah, it's a huge undertaking. I'm glad you have appreciation for that. You know, maybe our homeowner audience, that's a one-off project, doesn't understand the scope. They're grateful, no doubt, but when it's a reoccurring theme, it's you, I think, have an appreciation for the efforts that we've put into making sure that they're verified. Their background screenings are a piece of everything that we have to be able to say, hey, we will also put our name behind this person. Exactly.
Right. Well, you know what? You guys are getting bigger. We're getting bigger. We are going to have, we can't handle that growth, in my opinion, without having contractors supporting us. And again, they're an extension of us. So as we've talked about, this has been a industry where you don't have a lot of necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? Professional affiliations. So people being affiliated with you is huge for us, that we can then tap into you. And whether or not, I'll bring up the term one throat to choke. You're our one throat to choke.
Yeah.
So to anybody, blame Andrew. No, sir. If something goes wrong, from our end, we need to have, and why I was so high and still am high on this program, is we need somebody to be able to hit up when something does go wrong, and they will. That just happens, but that we're dealing with you because you have all these people that you're tapping into. So when people do ask me, I go, talk to Andrew, make sure that you're set up with him and the group, because that's what I'm going to ask.
Awesome. That is It's true. I mean, I could think of a handful of conversations that started today during our networking event, which I think at this point we could probably say this has got to be the largest monthly get together of contractors in this state.
Here.
Yeah. So we'll call it the largest get together in the state of contractors. So contractors, you haven't been, please show up. I mean, it says a lot about a business that they'll come at 7 a.m. on the third Tuesday of every month to network. Really, I don't call it that because you call it networking, contractors won't show up. So it's a meetup,
Right.
It's a trade partner get together, right? And it's unlike anything that I've come across, and that's why we do it the way we do it.
I feel like I'm a sales guy for you in a way. I was asking people today, well, what do you think? And they're like, well, do you work for Contractors of Colorado? I said, no, I work forever now.
Hey, we'll get you a name plug.
Hey, you want to pay me especially. And so I was asking several people, and there were a lot of newbies today for first time. And I said, so what do you think? And they're like, this is great. It's more informal. It's more collaborative is what I would call it. I just met you in October, right? I think was the conference we met at. And I said, we need to really put some stuff together, maybe September. It's been a short time, but I feel like this is home away from home, really, for me. Love dealing with this. Love the contractors who show up. So again, to anybody who's watching this, I would highly recommend, yes, that third Tuesday, 7 a.m. I am a morning guy, but it's a long commute for me. So if I'm doing it, and if nothing else, even if I'm an idiot, I bring bagels and coffee. So from that end, highly recommend it.
Yep. Lock the door. Saw you pull out the bagels, and I was like, all right, we'll let them in again.
Happy to do.
Yeah. Well, awesome. A couple things that I wanted to be sure that we went over during this podcast was, one, obviously the relationship that you all have with the contractors. Two, some of the things that we've been working on together, which I think we've done a good job kind of laying the groundwork for what's to come out of the organization. But I really want to hammer on and celebrate the fact that you all are growing. You just had another acquisition, added a whole bunch of doors.
9,000 doors.
Another 9,000 doors. What immediately can we help you all with? I know the contractors, providing them, making sure they're going to be there, do their job. But is there anything else that comes to mind that we can be a resource to you all for?
Wow. Great question. Thinking about that. Here's the biggest thing. Our group out of Denver is going to be strapped. Not necessarily strapped is a bad word, but they are tasked with doing a lot of different things, especially as we bring on these doors. You've met Reese, who is head of operations for us. That he was just over in the Philippines because we added this big set of doors. They have a group out of the Philippines, so he was over there working with them, which just means that he may be tasked with a lot of different things that we can't get to that we could to before. So Colorado is one of our biggest markets. Again, before doing this big purchase, we had 13,000 doors. Roughly, I think 8% is Colorado of that. So a little less now that we did this purchase, though there is some business here. So my stated goal is to triple this business as fast as possible. So from that end, where you can help is, again, with the best people who can fit for what we need. Now, sometimes we don't know what we need. And again, back to seasonality, suddenly summer hits and things go crazy. We know that the marketplace out here has had huge ups and is a little soft right now. So rather than necessarily bringing people in-house and hiring them, it would make sense to supplement with you guys.
Gotcha.
And the contractors, again, I wish I could say concretely, it's got to be 1, 2, 3, that these are the 3 things. Don't know, but it's going to change. And Evernest is changing rapidly. I mean, look, I just started in July. We're up, we're almost double of where we were. We're going to double again, and we're going to double again. Credit to Matthew Whitaker, who's our CEO. He's had a vision, that he started with 30 doors. He had nobody who was good. So that's why he actually created this company, because his take was there's no good property management firm out there. It's tough to get contractors, et cetera. So he had a vision. Kudos to Matthew, man, to go from 30 doors to 24,000 to ultimately $250,000 that he's talked about. You got to have a vision. You need help.
Yep.
So bottom line to any contractor would be communicate how you can help us. And don't just sell your wares, really be a partner on that end. The worst thing you can do is just kind of try to push without really figuring what our challenges are. So that is one of the challenges I'd give to the contractors. We're happy to meet with you. We're happy to talk to you. Help us solve our issues as they come up or challenges. Don't just kind of push your stuff.
Yeah. So I'm hearing relationship with Contractors of Colorado is important. Not a video.
Huge.
Awesome. I like that. 2, communication with you and the team.
Also huge.
Reliability and relationships. That's very important.
Yes.
And then the last one that I think is worth highlighting would be trying to figure out what it is that you need and what your processes are, because it's not like they're extremely rigid, and it's not that you all, you don't bend, you don't break. It's that you do have a process, and there is a way that things work with property management companies, especially yourself. So
yes, and I know each one is different, but for us, frankly, we've gotten a lot of business, and I talk to people about it. Our process is pretty good. I mean, I'm able to explain it from beginning to end, including the areas that I'm not involved with. And I'll add one other thing to this. We're looking for leads, always. One of the reasons I reached out to you and why I'm so excited about this is an investor comes into the marketplace, they're not looking for a property management firm right away. They're looking for contractors that can get stuff done. So whether or not it's the guys who are setting up those dumpsters or the trailers for new development, what have you, some of you are really on the leading edge of dealing with investors. I want those leads. It's why my strategy here started with contractors and still does, because you can help us get ahead of the marketplace. And frankly, I always say, the more you can align selfish interests, my selfish interest is to grow.
Yep.
So as Evernest is, as well as anybody else. So if you can help me grow, that means business coming back to you, et cetera. So that would be the last part that I'd add to it. A lot of people don't think of themselves as lead generators, but to me, contractors have the potential to be huge lead generators.
Absolutely. And in our last podcast that was released, I met and sat down with Gabrielle, and she is running our I guess sister division, agents, whatever we want to refer that to, organization, the Real Estate Deal Makers of Colorado. Another roughly 20,000 member group, and we're just getting started and seeing out the roadmap that is, our relationship. I joke it's peanut butter and jelly. You got project holders, you got contractors, throw you in the mix, and everybody's happy. We're building our own little ecosystem powerhouse over here. I mean, with Builders Outlet and their support, now we've got material supply, and we know all the lenders, we've got wholesalers, we've got the contractors. So we're figuring out this whole process, and our mission hasn't changed. It's to connect high quality individuals with other high quality individuals, whether they're project holders to contractors or whatever it looks like. So I love it.
To that point, again, we're trying to get to investors. So the fact that you have a sister division is great. It's a huge part of my personal strategy. Again, I'm a business strategist. I have built companies from scratch that have become very successful by identifying the key things. I think I'm proud of what I've done in my past. To that point, when I saw the Colorado marketplace, and from an Evernest perspective, we've talked about how do we break the code, meaning how do we grow even faster? because we've been successful, but Colorado is a tough marketplace. And I led off with, I'm going to go big with contractors because contractors deal with investors. Investors want a trusted partner all the way through. So contractors, you might not think about it, are a huge strategic advantage to me. It's why I reached out. It is going to become bigger. And so being able to close that loop of, hey, investors coming in, they're starting out here. Who are they going to reach out to? They're going to reach out to finance companies, whatever, but they're first going to deal with contractors. Where do those contractors come from? They come from you and being able to vet them, and leads for me, which then feeds right back. Yep. And so it's a great ecosystem that is an open, closed loop, as I call it. Everybody's part of the partnership. Should not look, and again, going back, the contractor who's not going to do well is going to look purely from their own perspective. The ultimate ones that are going to be truly successful, look at that entire ecosystem of all the different players involved.
Yep. Nailed it. I mean, I'm thankful for our relationship and the fact that you reached out and started this communication with us. I think it's going to be a fruitful partnership for all down the road here and already. That's all I had for today. I wanted to give you one last chance to speak your mind. Is there anything you wanted to be sure you got?
Oh, that's dangerous. Me speaking my mind, as you know. I always say you could take a blank wall and I could have a conversation with it for 15 minutes. And it would be a great conversation.
Sure. I'm
kind
sure.
of one-sided. Anyways, no, I think we've hit on it. The key thing is to anyone who's involved, look at it as an entire ecosystem. Look at it as you're part of something bigger. I come from a large family, large extended family. Why I bring that up is it was never just about me. I'm one of 6 boys, actually, my poor mom. You learn to be part of something bigger. The ones who will be very successful with this will realize I'm part of something bigger, whoever they are. And it's not all about them. It's all about the team or that ecosystem, that group, whatever you want to call it, and to be part of that. So that's the biggest point I'd leave is I'm always looking at how can you combine different players to meet. Whether or not that truly helps me or not, it ultimately does. And that would be the challenge that I'd give to anybody. Look beyond yourself in your own organization.
Words of wisdom right there. We're huge believers in that too. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Evernest, for everything that you do. Pat, you're amazing. I appreciate all the conversations and everything that you're getting us in the middle of. And
you guys are great. I'm happy I bugged you way back when at that conference to say, let's talk.
Yep.
Been nothing but up from there.
Wonderful. Well, on that note, I'm going to turn to the contractors and the rest of the community. I want to say thank you to everybody as we launch 2025 here. The turnout this morning at our monthly meetup was incredible. The support that the organization has been feeling is incredible. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to the Business Foundry for all the help that they provide throughout this journey, from an event space, an office space, a podcast room, everything that they're able to provide. Thank you. And to the Builders Outlet, another amazing sponsor of ours, allows us to do things like this, have media room time. So thank you to the Builders Outlet, cabinets, doors, windows, and trim. For all your construction project needs. And thank you to Evernest, a great sponsor. We look forward to everything that we can do with you all in the future. So that's it for today, everybody. Another episode of your Contractors of Colorado podcast is in the books. We will see you next time. Have a good one, everybody. See ya.